All right, here we are, another episode of FAQ Friday. Yuri here, back in the backyard. I've got a question from Autumn. This has been a couple weeks in the responding, so I apologize for the delay, but I got to it. So Autumn wants to know, I purchased the probiotics report from our Super Nutrition Academy site and have taken the 1 UF Critical Care AM and PM for a month. That's Ultra Flora, I think, a probiotic. I have significant and long-standing digestive issues. I've been taking lower doses of a different probiotic for a long time prior to UF. I just received 3 bottles of the Pro X10 in the mail, which is from BioTrust, which is another great probiotic. So she wants to know, should I cycle back down to a lower dose probiotic for a month before starting the Pro X10? I haven't noticed much improvement or change in my digestive issues yet. Also, your reports says the 4 billion CFU in the Pro X10 is similar to 10 billion of a non-micro encapsulated product. However, the bottle says it's equivalent to 50 billion, so I'm unsure how to dose it correctly. Okay, so I know that last part is very technical. Here's the thing. I'm going to make it really simple for you, Autumn, and for anyone else wondering about probiotics. First of all, read the probiotics report. There's a link below this video. It's very, very, very good information, and it'll show you exactly how to choose a good probiotic and my top recommendations for them. With that said, don't worry too much about the nitty-gritty. I mean, are you getting 10 billion, 50 billion, 15 billion, 20 billion? Just take one probiotic, do it for 30 days, and if you're going to continue with that one, continue with it. If you're going to move on to another one, bring the other one in for 30 days or whatever. You can cycle them every other day if you want. So you can do a BioTrust Pro X10 one day and the Renew Life Ultra Flora on the next day. As an example, because the key with probiotics is that you want to get different strains of bacteria. As you'll notice in the report, different strains of bacteria work at different levels of the digestive system. So if you're only taking a Lactobacillus acidophilus, you're only getting one strain of bacteria, which is only operating in one small part of your digestive and intestinal system. You want a full spectrum of probiotic strains. That's why ideally what we should all be doing, if we were to turn back the clock, is as kids playing in the backyard, eating dirt, spending more time with dogs, getting dirty, so we get exposed to as many different microorganisms as possible. That is the secret to building a healthy immune system, and that all starts with the good bacteria in your gut, which comes from childhood. And it doesn't come from antibiotics. Antibiotics kill all that stuff. We need to get connected to the earth, get associated with dirt again, and there we go. So, Autumn, don't worry about the technical details so much, like in terms of how much you're getting. Just cycle them back and forth. One day on, one day this one, one day this one, one day this one, or do 30 days this, and the next 30 days is the next one. Simple as that, okay? John wants to know, are leg raises a no-no? The kind you do hanging from a chin-up bar, arms supported with the straps, the ones where you pull your legs up, bend so your knees nearly touch your midsection. Okay, so that's a funny question. I'm not a huge, I mean, it depends. It really depends. So this is an exercise where you're kind of holding the chin-up bar like this, and you're lifting your knees up towards your chest, or straight legs up towards your elbows. I actually do this exercise in the gym just because it's a really advanced exercise. But if you look at the anatomy of it, you don't actually, your spine doesn't go into the amount of flexion that it does doing a full sit-up, for instance. So I wouldn't recommend this exercise for the beginner. Definitely start off with static exercises like plank, side plank, bird dog, build that deep foundation of the core. Then if you want to challenge yourself, go to those more advanced exercises like the leg raises, but be careful. Don't go crazy with this stuff. Anytime, like if you consider, like I don't know how much my legs weigh, but I'm just gonna say that they weigh 50 pounds. If I'm hanging and the lever that is now moving my legs is my lower abdominal muscles, or my rectus abdominis for that matter, if those small muscles are moving 50 pounds up and down, that becomes, there's a huge moment arm that exerts a pull on the lower back, on the vertebrae in the lower back, via those muscles. Again, it's kind of tough for me to explain this while I'm sitting here. it'd be easier to pull out an anatomy book and show you this, but I want you to understand that anytime you're moving a load that's far away from a fulcrum, so if my legs are extended, it's harder to lift my legs up like that than it is if my legs are bent, okay? So here, my legs being bent, the moment arm is shorter than if my legs are fully extended. And that means there's less stress on the muscles that are exerting that force. So from a back health perspective, it's actually better to do it knees up as opposed to straight legs. But also remember, you don't want to go into too much flexion. You don't want to bring the knees up so high that your vertebrae are kind of crunching together. So I don't know if they're a no-no. They're a no-no for people who are absolute beginners, who don't have a good foundational core strength. If you do, and you want to try them, by all means go ahead. What I would suggest is don't even use the straps. Just do a just hang from the pull-up bar in this position. What that's going to do is it's going to activate your entire torso by kind of holding this chin-up position, and now you're having to bring your knees up while avoiding the swinging of, swinging your body back and forth. It's actually a really, really challenging exercise. So there we go. And then second part of that question is John, he wants to know about my 2 diet tricks video, which is part of our Amazing Absolution series. He wants to know, will not eating grains and wheats and gluten actually reduce belly fat or just reduce bloatedness? Well, that's a very good question. And removing those, wheat, grains, gluten, will tremendously get rid of bloating. And they'll also reduce weight. I really believe this in a lot of people. Even in myself, you can tell I'm not a fat guy, but if I remove wheat from my diet, which I pretty much have, automatically the level of inflammation in your body goes down, and therefore your body is able to just kind of get rid of whatever weight it doesn't need to hold on to. And that's usually in the form of a couple pounds. For me, if I eat bread continuously, which I don't, I'll probably put on a couple pounds of needless weight, just through inflammation and inflammatory processes which tend to hold on to weight and more water inside my body. As soon as I remove that, the inflammation goes down, I'm able to get rid of the weight, and it's a lot easier. Also remember, when you're not eating that stuff, your insulin levels go down a bit, because if you're eating wheat and grains all the time, they tend to spike insulin levels a little bit higher, which tends to store fat as opposed to not storing it. So that's my take on grains. I don't think we should be eating them. JD wants to know, there's nothing in all the material about eggs, so I'm not too sure what all the material he's referring to. May I have some info on eggs? Okay, well, here's my take. Eggs are good as long as they're from free-range chickens and they've been, fed normal food. Eggs are fine. There's no issue with cholesterol. They're not going to boost your cholesterol levels. They contain about 6 grams of protein per egg. Don't eat them raw. I don't recommend eating raw eggs. And I think eggs are great. Just don't go crazy with them. Don't have 10 a day every single day. As with any other food, you want to moderate it and kind of mix it up. But eggs are great. I mean, if you want to be raw vegan, you don't have to eat eggs. But if you don't want to be that and you want to incorporate eggs are fine. Just remember, it's the source and the quality that is the most important thing to remember. All right, so that will end today's FAQ Friday session. Thanks for the questions once again, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.